Hey everyone, welcome to the Anchor of the Week. My name is Zach.
And I'm Courtney, and we're an initiative of Hope and Anchor Community Church in London.
Each week we'll discuss different topics relevant to faith and Christianity in today's culture.
We're here to build a space for the church to share our experiences and challenge one another to grow in living a life like Jesus.
Hey Timo, welcome back to the podcast.
Yes, welcome. Always a pleasure to have you guys join us.
Yeah, good to be back in the office today.
I know, we're back in the studio. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
yeah.
We had some fun weeks out.
Yeah. So today we're going to just dive into a bit more about kind of I guess some of the topics that came up with last week's Anchor on the Primrose or Hill or
Anchor on the
Streets or
Hill
whatever,
does
yeah,
not
yeah.
have the same
No, it doesn't,
ring
yeah.
as Anchor of the
Yeah.
Streets, but
So anyway, we're going to dive into some things we talked about and just try and go a little bit deeper because obviously we've just been looking at kind of what's motivates society and what's the fuel behind their engine.
exactly. Their engine, our engine,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Obviously, a lot we could relate to. So
Yeah.
one of the things we discovered in our conversations and as well as the interviews was money, and I guess that's the kind of obvious one, but we want to dive into it a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I think it's the obvious one, but I don't think a lot of people, generally speaking, would admit that that's what motivates them. Do you know what I mean? It's it's that whole like taboo thing that we don't really like talk about money, you know, but it is quite a motivating factor of life and of society.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, where does that all come from? So I can definitely relate, like, when I was working before I came here properly, like, as in, like, getting paid for working. I don't know if that's
your
the best
stable
way to put
job
that.
is what you're trying to
like
say.
your job. Anyway, so money was definitely a big motivator for me. I think, for myself to try and relate to kind of where others are at, I think, for me, more money meant more freedom, and it meant more options. So it's interesting that, but actually, in trying to chase money, I actually found that I had less freedom, and I was, in fact, bogged down.
It's the paradox.
More. What do you think to that? I mean, do you think that's the case for others? Do you think they're trying to chase for freedom, or is it just like they're just trying to earn money to go on nice holidays? I don't know.
I mean, kind of. A holiday might be freedom to some, but it's this whole idea of like, we've heard it before, even not even necessarily on camera, but even just our conversations with people we had last week. But like, you need money to survive.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's not necessarily like more money will give me more power necessarily, which we can drop a pin in there because we'll be back. But like, it's this idea of like, you can't do anything without money in the world's eyes, right? So people say, of course I would chase money. Money motivates me because I need to pay my rent, because why would I want to live in a rundown house? Like, I need food to survive. I want to have experiences with my friends, you know?
But quite often when I'm in those conversations, it's very much they're chasing the more money. Like it's like they have big goals, big visions, big like financial goals in that respect. So for me, what I've seen more of is like, I know there's people who need money to pay for these things, but they're chasing excess money, or like just they need more of it for some reason.
That's a keyword. Excess.
Yeah, it is a keyword actually. Yeah, I didn't even realize. But yeah, so I found that a lot. I think one of the reasons that people have that kind of mentality is, I think, just social pressure. Maybe that's from family or friends or just environment. Before I came here, like I was definitely I was living with some people who were very motivated by money, and that's what defined success and failure, I think. Even
that's interesting.
So,
do you think fear of failure also motivates society then?
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of bad things that also come from, this is slightly a rabbit hole here, but a lot of bad kind of feelings and things that stem from trying to reach this top of the mountain though as well. I think it was, I can't remember who it was, but there was an interview where we talked about how chasing this, chasing this mountaintop kind of brought a lot of anxiety. And even just a lot of negativity around, like, will I be able to do this? Stress and kind of those sort of feelings. I don't know. It's not a good thing, I think. So.
Yeah. So why do we keep on chasing it? That's
Yeah,
like the eternal question, you know? But you mentioned something, and I thought about it, and I going to get this wrong. But at some point you mentioned family. And it was a more eloquent statement than that, I will admit.
Go on,
but basically, I remember hearing, like, from the interviews, just multiple people saying that part of their motivation was as well, like, making their families proud.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just thought that was very interesting because, I don't know, it's not that I don't want to make my family proud. Obviously, if you're proud of me, that's big ups, you know what I mean? But this whole almost expectation. And I think we have this, as you said, like, society almost expects you to go further, to get more of the excess, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, being motivated to please our family is not, in essence, a bad thing, right? One would say, if you're going to chase either money or, like, your family's, like, blessing, always chase, you know, the family, you know? But I just thought it was very interesting how that is, like, a core motivator of people. And, yeah, just because you were talking about anxiety and all these things, I'm, like, and just wondering, like, where that comes from.
Does that pressure, almost that pressure come from, like, is it a pressure that is, like, unhealthy in the respect, like, they've put this pressure on you, or is it more of a case of, like, you just want to make them proud because, I don't know, they're
paying
close
them back almost.
Yeah. Or is it that they've put this pressure on you because that's just, they have high demands, you know? So I definitely feel like there are those cases out there that just families, without realizing it, put on their kids or whatever. So, it's interesting to think about. So money was definitely something that kind of we found that a lot of people were chasing. But I want to go back to kind of what I found with kind of having the excess. Like, I think when you chase more money, you have to do more to earn more, I guess, right? So you actually clog up your lifestyle, and it almost, I don't know, instead of having that freedom, you kind of like, I don't know, you get the opposite. So you're chasing this freedom by trying to earn lots of money and have this lifestyle, but actually it does the opposite. And it's weird. I don't know. I wonder why, I don't know, people don't see that quite when they're in it, you know?
Yeah. There's always this promise of, like, you're almost there. You think you make it, you know, but, just a little bit more, you know? And it's this cycle, I guess, that, I mean, our Western society is fully in, you know, but it's true. Why don't we, and I mean, maybe we can say this because we come at it from, like, a different perspective, you know, as Christians, and, like, I feel like we have a very kind of, like different perspective to come at it from. So we can very easily say, like, you know, don't be motivated by money, you know?
Yeah.
But if it has such a hold, like, on society, like, it is something we so need to talk about.
Yeah. And, like, it's not just non-Christians. I don't know if that's the best way to put it. Like, it's not just them who do this. I mean, I definitely still do at times. Like, I do this myself, you know? So, like, it's something that I can completely relate to. But on the topic of kind of money and jobs and stuff like that, I feel like also something that we found a lot was people were trying to, like, have their own business and have their own, I guess, setup. So, it was interesting that they, like, the idea of maybe working under someone wasn't really up for grabs, and they wanted their own kind of, I guess, control is probably the best way to put it. I guess, so...
Control or freedom.
Yeah.
Depending on which way you look at it, right?
So I think a lot of, for sure, actually, for sure. So, like, why are they chasing control? What is it that being under control, like, has quite a bad rep, I feel like? I wonder why that is, you know? Is that... I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
It is really interesting. And I think it really depends on a person's experience, for sure. You know, but I think we live in a society that says, like, you do you. Trust no one but yourself, you know, like, you be that, you know, boss lady. I don't know what the sayings are, but you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Like, you hustle, you make it, like, make a name for yourself. And so I feel like we're, like, fed with this, like, rhetoric, you know, of, like, you know, be your own boss, get it done, like...
control
it's on you.
Yeah,
exactly. Like, it's your destiny, control your destiny. Like, that kind of thing was just being fed all the time. So I think in essence, like, it makes so much sense that now everyone, especially people like our age, you know, that are coming out of, like, uni or, like, starting to get jobs, like, all of that, that is on our list of things to do or to aspire to, because that's what society says is, like, the new success. You know, before, if you go back, I don't know, like 30 years, success was having a stable blue collar job, you know, and it's changing now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
it's interesting as well. Like, can we relate anything? Because you hear these like stories of people, and they've created this big company, whatever, or their own company, their own setup, and it's like this success story of like how they changed their life. And
we all want to be a success story, don't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
but also, like, is there anything that we can relate to when like they have this successful, they've built something up, like their own little baby? Obviously not an actual baby, but
can't build a baby.
Like their own baby in terms of like this business and whatever, and like they've achieved something,
Yeah.
and they've done something themselves, accomplished something themselves. I feel like that feeling can really relate. Like, I feel like it's a very similar feeling to when like God uses you in this positive way. And yeah, I don't know. I wonder if there's any relation in that respect. Like, they feel fulfilled. Like, if you ask someone who's got this cool success story, it's that they haven't felt like they've got it wrong in life in terms of like where they're at now, obviously throughout the process. But like at this moment in time, they've built this baby. Like, keep using the word baby. Like they've built this baby, and it's been like, yeah, like life's great. Like I've got this.
Yeah.
Is there any Like, do you think there's any relation to kind of like, when God uses you, and it's like, I feel like it's like the same kind of feeling.
I think maybe I'm generalizing, but I think it comes down to purpose.
Yes, there we go. That's this is why we are doing this together. Yes, seriously,
you're welcome.
Yes,
but it is right because you just when you're successful, you feel like, wow, like I completed something. I was here for a reason.
Yeah.
Same thing when God uses you. Wow, like He used me. Like this happened. This really cool thing happened. Wow, I'm here for a purpose.
Yeah.
And I think that is what we're all. Grand scheme of things,
like that's what we're all chasing.
Yeah.
But obviously we're a bit more aware of that.
Yeah.
And other people aren't, I guess, and it's super interesting. Like, do you think there's other things in the world that create that feeling, so to speak, like that like, oh, like this is my purpose, and this is like, I don't know. What do you think? Because obviously that was a very specific story of someone building something up. Like, what are other ways people do that, you think?
I think generally I'm gonna move the topic a little bit because I'm excited to talk about this one. But I think we think that like authority, right? Like we have purpose when we're like in charge of things, right?
Yeah.
Because we see authority, right? Like, wow, like they know what they're doing. They get to lead something, they get to move something.
Yeah.
And it's linked to power.
Okay.
And I want to talk about power for a little bit and how we all chase power, because she's a little bit of a spicy topic. We like that here. But purpose and power, right?
No, yeah, you're right. Sorry.
I'm happy that you think I'm funny. So we're good.
There's someone out there.
But you know what I mean? Like if you have power, if you have influence, and I think we all want to be influential, because I think God has given us that. It's like a God-given ability to influence other people. Yeah. Right? Like it's amazing. Like we can inspire other people, we can influence, we can show them, the way to go. Like, God has given us authority, in the Christian sense, like over people, over areas, over in areas, you know what I mean? You struggle with something, you have the authority then and you've like made it out, you have the authority to help someone else through it, right? Yeah. That gives us purpose. But if you're coming at it from maybe more of like a society's expectation aspect, right? Yeah. The power comes from being on top, from being in charge, instead of let me like help you through something. Yeah, it's like let me show you, let me take you there, let me point you to where, which is not a bad thing at all. Yeah. But we are a power hungry society because we're all looking for our purpose, and we think to find our purpose we have to have power. Yeah.
And it's interesting how like in order for someone to have influence, I feel like a lot of the thoughts are you have to be high up, or you have to have like 10K followers on Insta or something
only
like that. 10? Yeah, only 10. Influencer life. Do you know what I mean though? Like you have to like climb up this ladder, whereas like you and I aren't up any ladder, and like
find the ladder.
Yeah.
I don't know where it is.
Like and we can have influence. Like anyone can have an influence on. We all do. Yeah. So people get quite caught up in like they have to get to this top, and then
it's an elusive top. Like where is the top? Yeah. Because from what we've seen and what we've heard, that there is no top to that mountain. There is no finish line in that sense, Yet that's just the structure of society that we've seen since, the ancient days. Yeah. Like, it's just the idea of being almost like a hierarchy, or there are stages that we have to reach. And so I think it's a really good challenge for us all to be like, okay, like, maybe I actually don't have to climb a ladder, so to say. And you might be listening to this and being like, okay, that's not true. Like, I'm trying to get, like, senior VP of, like, my company or whatever. And that's fine. Like, that's not saying don't chase that. But take a step back to be like...
It's the heart behind it, isn't it?
Yeah. And to just kind of, I don't know, like, recheck, what am I actually chasing? Like, why do I want power? Is it because I feel like I don't have a purpose? Is it because, there's all questions you have to ask yourself. The regular, sure. I don't care who you are, what you do, but...
There was one interview we had where I think it was Suzanne.
Okay, let's go for it.
I don't know. Anyway, I always do this. Anyway, so she was talking about, we would always ask her I felt like we were asking her motivations like 2 or 3 times because she'd refer to her job and stuff, but then she'd always like divert onto dancing, and like that was
her passion.
Yes.
Yes.
It's interesting that it almost felt like she wasn't doing her passion as like a primary job or whatever. And she'd always relate to her purpose to her passion. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's kind of an interesting little hole to dive down. Like, why is she... Yeah. Is it a side-on, or I don't know how she views passion? I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's very interesting because I've been thinking about this a lot, actually, recently, passion and purpose. Mm-hmm. But basically, like... your passion helps you complete your purpose, you know what I mean? But passion without purpose is just kind of like a wildfire, like blazing, I almost feel like passion is like that engine that keeps you going, but purpose is like the lane, and it helps you get there. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why the only analogy I can think of right now was bowling with like the bumpers.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Like little kid bowling alley? Like, and you got the ball, and when you were kids, right? I don't know if you went to bowling parties when you were a child.
I went to a few, but can't say.
I worked the circuit. Anyway. It's fine.
Oh wow, no way.
No, I'm just kidding. I have no recollections of this, or few, very few. But like you're a kid and you got the little ball and you just like chuck it, but then the bumpers are there, and so you like as kids you actually can't get the ball in the gutter. Like you can't really lose. You know what I mean? Like the passion is like the little kid like throwing the ball, right, and being like, I love this so much, But then the purpose is what kind of like keeps it in check, and I think. Purpose without passion, you don't really get anywhere because you do nothing to like drive you, you know. But passion without purpose, I think sometimes you can end up in the gutter by accident.
Yeah. And do you think everyone should be doing their passion? Like, when I say doing, like, I guess because there's a lot of things out there like going about like do what you love, do what you're most passionate about. Like that's what you should be doing as a job. I'm relating a lot to the jobs, but
I think your passion and what you want is actually a different thing.
Right. Talk to me then. What do you mean?
I will talk to you. Doing what I want is doing like what feels nice in the moment. Or like, what do I want? I want us to finish this podcast and
watching the game after.
Yeah, I was gonna try to quote you and like be you, but I couldn't do that. Yeah, right. Yeah. Anyway, there's a football match on tonight that Zach really wants to watch.
It's a big game.
Yeah.
Anyway, That's the topic, so we get that.
But your passion for people and for this podcast and everything, is keeping you here. Okay. Right. What you want doesn't always line up with what you're passionate about. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they're like in sync beautifully and it's awesome. Yeah. But I think we can't mix passion with our feelings because culture tells us, society tells us to follow our feelings, whatever feels right in the moment. But passion is like, oh, what's that thing again? Like for us, it'd be like, what did God speak to us? Okay, like this is like what I want you to do. And that gives like the fire to your engine, and you keep going. I hope that was coherent.
No, that makes sense to me.
Okay. That's at least my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any.
So is passion not feelings though?
I think passion is way more than feeling.
Okay. How do you mean? Wait, talk to me.
First
we
of
are
all,
slightly off topic.
And this is going to be a slight plug. If you would have read Volume 4 of Chasm Magazine, The Passion Issue.
Oh, wow. We're being caught out here.
It's a little other job I have.
Selfless, yeah.
Yeah, selfless plug.
Yep.
ChasmMagazine.com. Mm-hmm. But passion is not a feeling, right? Like I have a passion. There is something in my life that
it's a love for it, right?
It's a love, and sometimes I don't feel like doing my passion. like one of my passions is like the art, like in media industries. And sometimes I'm like, it'd be so much easier just to not like get involved and love it from afar, you know? But it's something that I believe that God said, like, you will have influence in this area. So it's my passion to see these areas like restored. Sometimes I don't feel like doing it. I don't want to do it. Or I feel like just doing like the glamorous parts of it and not like the groundwork of it, you know? Because I think, yeah, we have like a twofold issue with society saying that passion is a feeling and then saying just do what you feel.
Yes. Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
And it waters down our passion. You know, our passion what keeps us going when we don't feel like doing it anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Or is that not purpose? No. Like wait, but like, if you think about it, like, because in my maybe I just don't know what passion means, but like passion for me is like your love for something, right? Like something like I love doing this. Like it gets me bumped, gets me buzzing for something.
There it is, buzzing.
And then purpose was what, like, on the days maybe that I don't feel like doing this, then my purpose is what keeps me in line.
I mean, I think they really go hand in hand, but it's again the whole like idea of love. You know, even when I don't feel like I love you, I choose to love you. You know, even when I don't feel like I'm passionate about something, I choose to say no. Like this is what, you know, is, you know, a big part of my life. You know, and I think there's no like beautiful way to cut it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or to say here is your definition, and to know when it's passion, not passion, purpose, not purpose, feeling, not feeling. Because they are so muddled, and I think that's how we get them so confused, and how we can let society confuse us so much. It's because they're blurred lines sometimes. But
well, to take us back on track just slightly.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No. But it's good. It's good. I mean, it's good for me, really. But so, what about people who are kind of doing every day and they're not doing what they are passionate about, or just, I guess, I don't know. So in my head, I've got this scenario where people are, they're working hard to pay off the house. They're working hard for their kids or whatever. I guess that's their drive almost. So I'm thinking of like parents and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what do you think to that? I mean, is that a good scenario? Because it's very heavy. There's lots of pressure.
Yeah.
And it almost causes like these kind of depressing feelings, really. Like it gets to those kind of points, I feel like. So what do you think for people like that? I mean, is that healthy? I mean, obviously they've got to provide and they've got to do this and that.
Yeah, I mean, again, we can't throw caution to the wind to become like irresponsible, you know. But I think as well, like our passions can change, or like maybe like shift priority in different seasons. Do you know what I mean? Like, I knew from my life growing up as well, like there were seasons when like we didn't have like money, the whole like recession in North America in 2008, you know, and my dad just had to take whatever job he could get, like literally whatever job he could get, you know. And like that wasn't what he was passionate about, it wasn't what he was trained in, wasn't any of that. But in those seasons he was like, right now my passion is like making sure we keep our house. You know. And then you know, time went on, but I think above all that, his passion was just doing whatever God put in front of him. Hi, Dad. That one was for you. I hope you watch this. You know, and I think sometimes we can also become obsessive about our passions. And again, as coming at it from a Christian perspective, this is something we have to also understand, is that like we don't chase our passions, we chase God. You know? And that's obviously hard to explain to someone that maybe doesn't believe that or believes in something different, you know. But I think that's another reason or way that we can kind of draw the line in that sense.
I definitely feel like, because obviously God's got calling for all of us, and he's got something for all of us. So, I don't know. It's just interesting how like just everyone's chasing this thing and this feeling or this goal, whatever. But at the end of the day, they're chasing, I think, like I would describe it as like God's calling for them. And without knowing that, like you're never going to feel like successful or like you've done it. Like you're always going to chase the next thing. It's a weird thing to think about, but it's just like a constant chase.
It's the idea of everyone like trying to be fulfilled. You know, but when it's very abstract, you know, like, oh, I'm just chasing fulfillment. But if that's different for every person, like there's so many just abstract concepts in that as well. Which I think is very interesting. Like, I don't know. I don't have like an answer for it.
Yeah, but they're just chasing, and it's like a dog chasing his tail, you know? Like, it's just round and round. Like, it's just the same circle, the same system, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just understanding your calling and, like, yeah, I don't know. It's just weirdly interesting how they revert to all these different areas of life, but at the end of the day, they're actually just chasing, you know, what God's been calling them to do. But obviously, it's not so easy when they don't have faith or whatever the situation is. Yeah. But yeah, I definitely noticed that, like, just not that I figured everything out, of course, but just in that journey, in this relationship that I have, like, I'm slowly not chasing these things anymore. Like, I'm not after these things, because I'm being fulfilled in that respect. Yeah. It's super interesting to think about.
It is, you know, and was I even talking to you about this earlier today? I don't really remember, but just about, again, putting value. Oh, we talked about this many episodes, but like in what we do, right? Like, and I was saying, like, wow, I was going through like a season when like I'm feeling like I'm putting so much value in what I do. So when I don't feel like I meet the expectation, I feel like I failed, right? Yeah. And I think that is also something that is like, I don't want to say like hinders or whatever, but when it comes to fulfillment, you know what I mean? How do we fulfill? Oh wow, how do we feel? Too many apps. How do we feel fulfilled? Sorry, you know, when we don't feel like we can ever like reach it, you know, because I can't possibly do everything I want to do, you know, because there's so much that I want to do and I want to be at it all and do it all, you know. But it's coming from the place of like, okay, well, God, like, if you have me here, then I'm fulfilled as is. You know what I mean? Because you're enough. So we chillin', you know. And then we get to do other stuff. And sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail, but it doesn't matter because our fulfillment doesn't come from the success versus failure of like the outward things that we do. Yeah. But I think that is something that a lot of people like are striving for, right? I think a lot of people have already had that revelation, no matter what you believe, that okay, maybe my fulfillment comes from something inside. Yeah. You know, and we have the whole like different kind of more like new agey movements or whatever that are based on that instinct, I would even call it.
Yeah, for sure. You know, what are we chasing if we're already fulfilled?
That's a great point.
That is a great point. Little inside joke there. Anyway, so yeah, we're going to wrap this up a little bit. But yeah, it was really nice just to hear kind of different people's perspectives last week. We'll be definitely, I guess, doing that a little bit more, and we'll
for sure
probably have a couple guests on hopefully in the next few weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, really what we're after is just trying to chase different people's thoughts and
about what they're chasing.
Yeah, because we can talk for ourselves, but we also want to know what other people think.
Always, you know, that's the idea is to create conversations.
It is.
So.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Anyway, So tune in next week, guys. This has been great.
We'll keep the conversation going.
Yeah.
If you have any thoughts, let us know.
Yeah. Please
love to hear from you.
We would.
Or anyone that you want us to interview.
Yes.
If you have any ideas, because we'd be here for that.
Yes.
100%.
We would be here for it.
Yes.
We would. Great. Brilliant.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Timo. Thanks for joining us for today's episode of The Anchor of the Week.
Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube so you never miss an episode.
See you next time.